Hey fellow Cortanas, and welcome back to the channel. And today is the finale of my ranking my favorite episodes from the various 15 seasons of Supernatural. Today, of course, it is season 15. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Number 10, Last Holiday. Well, of course, in real life, we're smack dab in the middle of a very real pandemic, and the show has to figure out how to work around this. Well, Sam and Dean, alone in the bunker with a wood nymph, sounds pretty good to me, and a nymph that is also out for keeping the Men of Letters family, her family, she views it as, whole. Sam and Dean are legacy, so of course, she does cooking, cleaning, everything else, holidays, all of it for the brothers, and they enjoy it for a long time, especially Dean, who gets his munchies on. It's such a heartfelt episode, and honestly, even with all the craziness that was going on at that time in the real world, it was nice to see a little bit of good-heartedness in one of the best shows of all time of Supernatural. Such a truly down-to-earth episode, and didn't really have a whole lot of off-the-top things happen in it, but all in all, still a very good episode. Still very strong. Number 9, The Gamblers. Here we go. Sam and Dean. Now pretty much just like everybody else. God is no longer favoring them. Or Chuck, I should say, is no longer favoring them. This was such a tremendous episode to try and see if Dean and Sam can get their luck back on their side and see if they can, well, essentially not have to deal with any more of the cavities or anything else in between after Garth tells them about this situation up in Alaska. The only time, I believe, that this show would ever go to Alaska. Sadly, it would never visit Hawaii, I don't think. Nonetheless, The Gamblers was a very important episode for this season because it was against every odd you could possibly imagine, and the fact that they essentially have to play the game of pool, which both Sam and Dean are pretty good at, and Sam ends up having to be the one in the end to essentially save everybody. But yeah, I mean, this, especially at the end when she realizes that Sam and Dean are true heroes and she didn't think that there were any heroes left, so she lets everybody out of the little bar that she has been keeping. She gives Dean and Sam all the luck in the world to help try and beat Chuck. A great episode, and it really digs into why Dean and Sam have been able to deal with what they've been able to deal with, and also why Dean's been able to eat and drink the way he's been able to eat and drink over the last 15 seasons. Crazy episode, a crazy situation, but important moving forward. Number 8, Raising Hell. So once again, we got a serial killer in this one, who is a ghost in this one, and it just so happens that it's Jack the Ripper. Like I've said in other episodes of these videos, that I always was interested more when a show would deal with, or an episode would deal with, a real serial killer from our history, and this one did it pretty well in the fact that he is essentially the leader of these spirits that Rowena trapped, or at least Sam and Dean trapped, thanks to a demon who is possessing Jack's corpse. Again, crazy and out there and wild, but such a fun way, and especially with Rowena coming into a bit of a love relationship with Ketch, a former Man of Letters who ends up helping Sam and Dean in the end. But for the second episode of season 15, this one just elevates everything early on to a very quick pace. And it's really balls to the wall for these characters. And they just have to figure out how they're going to stop these spirits and everything else that Chuck let loose. Number 7, Galaxy Brain. Jack is in the empty. Billy comes into the fold, and she ends up having a little chat with Jack while in the empty. This trying to get Jack back into the story, back into Sam and Dean's lives. You couldn't have had this season without Jack, and honestly, with the way that it ended, it was all the right way to end it. But yeah, Galaxy Brain, seeing more of the empty, the entity of the empty, was really fascinating and really interesting to get to know that character a little bit more and get to know how it acts with beings that come into it, and that it's supposed to be asleep. But obviously, Castiel woke it up, and it's having a hard time trying to get back to sleep with all the commotion going on around, with angels and demons coming and going, and just the craziness that ensues is absolutely amazing. Number 6, Drag Me Away From You. Going back to Sam and Dean's childhood, it was important to do in season 15 because just about in each of the seasons we had at least one episode where we went back into either both the brothers' lives or just one of them. This one was both of them, and Dean was kind of the more main focus at this point because at this point, Dean's losing a lot of his fights. He's, how do we stop God? How do we fight against God? We can't. And this episode was kind of a little more demoralizing, but also made Dean want to fight harder at the same time. So it was a double whammy episode for Dean, especially since as a kid he saw something that he could not say to Sam what he had seen as a kid or to anybody else because it had pretty much traumatized him as a kid seeing that. And going through this episode with all the past looks into the life of Sam and Dean and seeing them interact with this brother and his sister, just really, really interesting, and to see how this witch twists and everything, and the fact that it's Baba Yaga. I have to say, there was a point in this episode where it clicked in my head really fast that, wait a minute, this is sounding like Baba Yaga. And then they say Baba Yaga, and it's like, bingo, Yahtzee, we got it. Number 5, Destiny's Child. Sam and Dean are trying to figure out how to deal with Chuck. How to stop Chuck. Well, unfortunately, they have to try and enlist the help of Sister Jo. But she's not into glad-handing too much. She's not willing to really go out on a limb to help Sam and Dean in their fight against Chuck. But that doesn't mean that she doesn't leave them without answers. Because the road to possibly stop Chuck goes through Ruby. And it just leads into a craziness that as they try and trap Chuck, essentially, it's nice to see Ruby back. Nice to see Genevieve Padalecki back in this episode. The last time we would see Ruby in an episode of Supernatural, but you couldn't have asked for a better way, because there was no way. I don't think there was any way that character was going to come back into the fold of Sam and Dean, because her job was pretty much already done, and Chuck knew that. Number 4, Unity. Dean fully believes that the only way to stop Chuck is to supersize Jack as a pretty much nuclear warhead. Unfortunately, there is some lies that has been told to Dean especially, and it ends up with some grave consequences for Sam and Dean and Cass. As once again, Chuck would kill Jack, but he would also consume Amara, making Alpha and Omega one. This episode, it just left you with more, how are they going to get through this one? Are they going to stop it? Or is Chuck going to actually win? Are they going to do something that's going to leave kind of a sour taste in the fans' mouths at the end of this season? Number 3, Despair. So the plan is in full motion here in this episode, and as I was talking about, Chuck soaks up Amara, Dean tries to push his way through Sam and Cass, punching Sam in the process, because he wholeheartedly believes that Jack is the only way that this is going to come to an end. That all the pain and all the misery that Chuck has put the Winchesters through, this is the only way. Unfortunately, it breaks down really fast, and just after the meeting with Adam goes to a very hypnotic state in the previous episode, this episode finishes off kind of a 2-part episode, in my view, in a very, very hard way, because now, how are the brothers going to stop Chuck? We don't know yet. Number 2, Inherit the Earth. Chuck has finally won, it seems. He's left Sam, Dean, and Jack to themselves. Cass, previously, is gone. He'll allow the empty to take him after a very heartfelt goodbye with Dean. It was this finale to this particular story amazing and so sit on your seat, heart-wrenching. You almost wonder what is next for the characters after it's all said and done. And this episode really just takes it to 1,000,000, from 0 to 1,000,000, because now it's just Sam, Dean, and Jack there. But they might have something up their sleeve yet when Michael, still possessing Adam from hell, comes back into the fold, and Lucifer comes back for one more go around with Michael. But it turns out that this battle is not going to destroy the world. It's actually going to empower Jack. You let him consume the power that Lucifer and Michael let out in their little fight. Then you let God kill Michael, allowing a bunch of archangel energy to go right to him. And then you let God pummel you for a little bit, letting out a whole lot of God power. Everything in this episode was just, it left your jaw drop, because how far Chuck was willing to go to not only screw with Dean and Sam, everything in this episode is just so amazing and leaves you as a fan feeling so much for Sam, Dean, and Jack that you just wonder, will it end the right way? Luckily, Jack consumes all of God's power and is able to make Chuck mortal. Number 1, Carry On. You want to talk about, I'm getting chills just thinking about this episode right now, because this was truly emotional for all of us Supernatural fans. It was the greatest series finale episode that we could have asked for as Supernatural fans. It really, truly was. And the fact that this is pretty much the last hunt to harken back to when we got this whole journey started in season 1. It's back to just Sam and Dean on a hunt. What has made the last 15 seasons what they were, of putting themselves out there for each other and wanting to make deals and do everything they can to bring Dean back. It just leads to no good. And Dean knows this. And Dean knows that this is it. This is the time. It's time to end it. It's time to be done. It's such a emotional episode, and one that I don't think that as a fan of Supernatural you can ever just sit down and watch. It's gonna make you feel something, and it should. If an episode is done right for a series finale, it should leave you with feeling some kind of emotion, feeling some kind of a way about it, whether it's angry, sad, happy, whatever the case may be. This episode does that. It leaves you feeling happy that this show existed and exists still. It makes you emotional that it is the end, that you have to say goodbye to these characters possibly for the last time. But you know that they will always be there to watch again if you have any of the seasons, or any channel that may hold the rerun episodes. Sam and Dean, Cass, Jack, Mary, John, Lucifer, Chuck, Amara, Gordon Walker, Joe, Ellen, Bobby, all of them. Every character, every story, every monster is still going to be there. Not just here, but here. Because Supernatural did something that no other show had done before or prior, or before it and definitely after it. It built a true family. And for that, to everybody, both fandom and the production team and the actors, everybody that is a part of this family, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of those years of absolute emotion, anger, surprise, astonishment, thrilling moments, and overall great storytelling. Carry on, and don't ever give up. This is going to end my rankings, at least for the episodes of each season of Supernatural. I thank you all so much for watching. Always remember to imagine your dream, create your happiness, and live your life on the edge, and I will see you in that next episode. See ya.